body bags where horror lies.
Now take my bitch. She won't complain about shit cause she's my hoe. She don't belong to a trick, so when you fuck her and give her all your cash, I get paid. I put my foot in her ass, I won't marry the bitch and give her half, I get mo-head. And then I laugh at that one bitch shit. I got a gang of hoes, I get freak ass lick these balls and toes.
Now stupid little bitches get tossed if they don't realize that I'm the motherfucking boss. Come on down and get your ass pinched, and if you talk shit, get your ass lynched. Cause I'm the B, the I, the T, the C, the H, the K, the I, the L, the L, the A, Sean B. A boy that's bigger than a nut. Cause a bitch is a bitch, is a hoe, is a slut.
You say, how can I call a woman a bitch? It ain't nothing but a word like shit. Ain't no slipping in my motherfucking pin.
Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to week 78 here on Body Bags. I am your host Moodz616, and thank you once again for dropping in, guys. Alrighty, yeah, and it's Stephen King week, part 2. So yeah, we've made our rounds, and the people have spoken. We wanted to do Stephen King, the sequel. Of course, there's like a million adaptations, so there's lots to choose from, which is awesome. I like Stephen King films, so I chose this one this week because it's a film I actually have not watched in years and years. I bought this DVD like such a long time ago, watched it then, and haven't revisited it since. So I've actually read this book too, and the book's, you know, quite long actually. Of course, this one is from 1993, and it's called Needful Things. Yeah, I'm sure everyone's heard of this one. Yeah, the book is actually quite long and pretty extensive into the story, but the movie does a decent job. But yeah, getting to the plot of this one, it basically centers around your main character, Ed Harris. He plays a small-town sheriff in, of course, the fictional town of Castle Rock, where a lot of Stephen King stories are based in. He has basically moved down from the big city of Pittsburgh because his shit just got too hectic for him, so he moved into the small town of Castle Rock to be the sheriff there and just kind of live that lavish life. But then in comes a store owner played by Max von Sydow. His name is Leland Gaunt. And this guy just moved into town and he's opened up a store called Needful Things. Now everything seems okay, everything seems cool in the town, all the town folk really like the store. But there's one little catch to the things. Now he sells what he calls needful things to the people, but the main problem is nobody in the town can really afford these possessions that he possesses in his store. So he makes the town people kind of do bids for him, or pranks and shit like that. Ultimately what it does is it kind of turns everybody against each other, and shit kind of goes crazy. Now people start ending up dead, and now it's up to Ed Harris's character, the sheriff, to figure out what the fuck is going on in the small town, because everything was all good until Leland Gaunt moved into the town, and he might be responsible for stirring up all this crazy shit. So that is basically the plot of your film right there. Now my thoughts on this one, I think it's actually a pretty good flick. I really like the setting of this movie. They capture that small town feel of Castle Rock, what it's supposed to be, very well. I think the characters in this film are, they're enjoyable, and it's one thing I really do admire about the film is that, you know, it runs about 2 hours long, but it stays fresh. It's got a pretty decent pace throughout the whole film because it introduces you to so many different type of characters. Because what it is these characters coming in and out of the store ultimately can't afford these needful things, and, you know, they start doing these pranks and these bits. So you get introduced to lots of different characters, so it always keeps it really fresh. It's quite entertaining actually through the film. There's really not a lot of gore in this film at all. There is some deaths, not too many. Pretty minor with the blood and gore and stuff, so there's not really a lot of that going on. But I do like the whole premise. You know, I like the whole premise of the character of Leland Gaunt. You know, you don't really, I mean, you do really kind of know what he is. Like, it even tells you right on the back that, you know, that Ed Harris's character, Sheriff Alan Panghorn, he's got a devil of a problem on his hands. So you know right away, and you get the feeling right from like the opening scenes that, you know, this guy's probably has something to do with the devil, and it's got a lot of undertones to the film. It's even got like, you know, this Catholic priest and this other religious figure. They're battling throughout the film, and it's got all that type of things going on, and there's lots of references to God and devil, and just a lot of, you know, dialogue having to do with that type of stuff, which is, you know, obviously put there intentionally. But I find it intriguing the way they did it. So, but yeah, for a 2-hour film, the pacing's actually pretty well done, which is surprising. Yeah, and really not a dull moment. I really like a lot of the characters and a lot of the pranks and things that are pulled off. I think they kind of get away from certain characters in the film, especially with the little boy. You know, after what happens with him, they don't really kind of go back into it. And I think the end of the movie is okay, and it makes sense the way they did it. It's, I don't want to use the word anticlimactic, but in a sense, I mean, I guess that's kind of how it would go down, but it's not really my favorite ending in the world is basically what I'm trying to get at. It doesn't really bug me, I just don't find it overly that great, but it doesn't really hurt the film that much. I think it's a pretty good film to watch, so. Not really a whole lot more to say about Needful Things, though. If you've never seen Needful Things, definitely check it out. I think the performances are pretty good. Ed Harris has a pretty, he's got a couple pretty decent scenes in the film where he's like totally losing his shit and screaming and yelling, so I kind of like that. So I do like that part of the end scene. I think that's pretty neat, but yeah, his fiance in the film is played by Bonnie Bedelia, I think that's how her name is. Very recognizable face. She plays like, she runs this kind of restaurant deal. And so you got that whole type relationship going on too, but they don't really go too heavily deep into it. I think they did a pretty good job in this film structuring the way they utilize the characters in the film, which is pretty interesting. So, but yeah, Needful Things, awesome setting, pretty cool music. Actually, that is one thing I did want to touch on. I like the music in this film. I think the very last scene, the music that's playing in that scene, it just did not work at all. That's one thing, that's what I was trying to get at with the ending before. I don't think the music that they use, I think it was almost a little too goofy for what it was supposed to be. I don't think it was supposed to be funny, but it kind of came off like that, which is really odd for the tone of the film, because it's kind of serious. Like there's really no comedic elements to this besides one little gag in the film, but you know, I thought that was kind of disappointing. But overall, if I had to rate Needful Things, I would probably give it a solid 7 out of 10. I think it's a really kind of overlooked Stephen King adaptation. Like I said, I've read the book, and I do prefer the book over it because there's a lot more going on with characters, and they really just couldn't stuff all that information from the book into the film, even though the film runs 2 hours. But it does kind of, it gets the, you know, the grasp of it, so. But yeah, I recommend Needful Things. Check it out. Pretty cool film. So yeah, week 78 here on Body Bags. We'll be back next week, of course. And like I always say, I never know what the theme is for the next week, so. Anyways, guys, signing off here. Peace out.